We saw the greatest football game of all time last night.
It couldn't have been better. The Bevelist of Conways.
Dude, if you don't like that, I don't trust you as a human being. Like, if you would prefer to see that game inside, there needs to be something. Like, you need to be on a watch list.
The best part was that the field was clear and green.
10 minutes.
A little bit of snow. 10 minutes later, it was cocaine all over the place.
Well, no, it didn't look like cocaine. It looked like slushy. Like I wanted big flakes. I wanted to eat that snow. If it weren't for the fact that it was like probably, Cleveland snow, not high on the list of snows that I want to eat. But Mike Tomlin didn't stop him.
Nah.
He was out there getting a piece.
It looked like he was trying really hard not to wipe it off his beard. Like he wanted to.
Yeah.
He wanted to look hard.
Yeah.
Then he was like, "Yeah, let me get a little bit of that."
A little taste.
Yep.
Little taste. That was unbelievable. Everything about that game. I mean, from Jameis Winston coming out and being like, the horse is getting prepared.
And the smile he had when she was like, is it going to be hard to throw in this game today?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just so thankful the Lord has blessed me to be able to play football in the snow.
And then he remembered the name of the stadium and everything. Like,
he clearly looked over and saw a sign.
Did he?
He called it the name of the field.
Did he?
Yeah, he was like Highland Park Bank Field.
Like, what? I didn't even know it was called that.
Yeah, nobody knows it.
Dude, that guy is good for the league. I mean, honestly, what a cleanup job. The NFL should pay Jameis Winston a lot of money for the cleanup job he's doing. I don't mean on the field. I mean like just from a branding standpoint.
It's just like, why just do this earlier? You have like at least like 5 wins right now.
I'm not even talking about the wins and losses.
It's just
what I'm talking about is having a guy with everything that he had swirling around him, and nobody wanted the Browns to win ever. Like people were just like, if they die, they die, and then it turns into a thing where everybody's like rallying around the Browns because Jameis Winston's electric.
He's electric. How fast it changes, because everyone was not happy when he was being godly and sticking up for Deshaun and saying the right thing when all that stuff happened.
Whoa.
A lot of people were on his neck for that.
Well, including me. Because it makes sense. Do you know what mutually exclusive means? I got a soundboard now. I'm gonna wear that button out with you. Because you can be electric and then have like one bad presser. Like that's a presser he wants back. He probably doesn't want it back, but I would want that presser back.
I love Jameis.
I love Jameis too. I love Jameis too. I love
God. Hey, you see, he gives it up to God, and good things happen.
Dude, they're 3-8.
God and the football gods, man. I'm telling you, he doesn't always have the chance to speak things into existence before the game like you do when you're a starting quarterback. Look at that.
Why did God want him to throw so many picks in Tampa? This is the thing about, and I believe in God. I believe in higher power.
It was in the writing.
I just personally don't think he or she cares about football. I don't think that deity cares about football. With everything going on in the world, you're convinced that God, with all the people in the world, is like, let me Thursday night football. What's the total? Like, the Browns catching 4.
Careful about believing in a higher power, because that higher power can just up and retire after 15 years, 18 days before the season starts, and then you're losing by 22 in a freaking ballroom in the Bahamas. So just be careful about higher powers, okay?
He's talking about Virginia basketball.
It was written, man.
It was written.
He's talking about Virginia basketball.
Unwavering faith.
We did lose in a ballroom.
It's back to the Browns.
I was so into that game last night, I didn't watch I didn't even think about Virginia playing Tennessee. I came in this morning like, who'd they play? I mean, that was amazing. We had Jameis late in the game with shit hanging. He goes in the end zone. He's got stuff hanging off his helmet. Like, was that the snow? Like Myles Garrett has a chunk of the orange on his helmet hanging off. There's a banging noise the entire broadcast. Like Pickens is getting into skirmishes with guys post Hail Mary. Like there's guys with leaf blowers. Like there's 12-yard punts. That was
4 black quarterbacks played.
You pointed that out.
Got to throw that in there. I don't know if that's ever happened. 4 black quarterbacks all playing in one NFL game.
That was pretty sick.
Pretty crazy.
I didn't realize that.
I loved it. Willie knew what was up.
Can you put that picture of my dog up? Here's the problem with this dog. I know I've described this before on the show, and people are like, oh, you can't dislike your dog. You're like a bad person. But the dog doesn't even watch the game. Imagine not watching the game. Imagine not watching that game. That dog sat there like that the entire second half. I'm like, Willie, all of a sudden they're moving the ball. The under's in jeopardy. Can you turn around and stop staring at me?
Willie's just sitting there like, I heard you were talking some shit, player.
Yeah, dude. He must listen to the pod.
He's like, I heard you put my name in your mouth.
He doesn't listen to anything else. Well, I heard you put shit in your mouth every time you go outside, Willie.
You got to be careful with this because I got a phone call this week asking if Chris was going to euthanize his dog.
I'm not going to euthanize the dog.
I know.
Who said that?
It was just a question that was asked.
Really?
By Meredith Gunter.
Oh, okay. In all seriousness?
Well, just like, I'll take the dog if he's going to kill the dog.
She'll take the dog?
If you're going to kill her.
tell her like.
Is 2:00 okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man. Like I'm Dr. Kevorkian over here.
Poor dog.
So if you didn't like that game, you need to be sent somewhere else.
Agreed.
Like, also watching Myles Garrett in the snow. Can you imagine being like living in another country and turning on an American football game and being like, what are they doing over there?
Bro, there's
like 6'7" dudes out there running into each other full speed in the snow.
I'm gonna have to find you this. There's actually a TikTok with there's a black kid in London.
I've seen
it's
this.
like day 55 of watching American football, and then it's like he was like, who's this Michael Vick guy? And then it's like day 70, and he's like, it's Shady McCoy, and he's like, wait, McCoy and Michael Vick were on the same team?
Well, then I saw they showed this guy 2017 Carson Wentz, and he was going nuts. He was like, look at this bloke.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, it was something to behold. I don't think you understand. You're like really like walking into a very hot button topic here. This is like politics in the U.S., the Carson Wentz topic. But I think the game came down to tough decisions, and we were texting about this last night. Congrats on your Thursday night time machine win.
Thank you.
This thing was back and forth the whole time. We both took Cleveland. He boxed me in with Cleveland -3. I had Cleveland -2, and it nearly landed right where we wanted it to.
Our scores were 13, 16, 16, and 18. All of those were on the board at some point.
I mean, 18-16, as crazy as that sounded, was in play.
2 weeks in a row.
So we're on it, but you came out with the win. Tough decisions. I texted you about this. We were texting each other. 3rd and 2, I believe it was 3rd and 2 when we had what looked like a grounding. Was that the correct down and distance? It was 3rd and 2. We had what looked like a grounding from Jameis Winston, but I knew from the minute the ball left his hand, it wasn't grounding because he's trying to throw the ball. He's getting drilled.
Right.
Like you got to make a case for the fact that he's trying to put it past the line of scrimmage. So there's a big like rigmarole on the sideline where I don't know what's going on, but it's illegal touching. So it ends up in a situation where he initially accepts the penalty, Tomlin. I don't know how he got a chance to go back and decline it.
I think he kept declining it.
He kept declining it, not accepting it.
And then at the end, he was like, all right, fine.
So he declined it. They take the field. They're about to go 4th and 2 now because decline penalty, you just go to the next down. But then he finds out you can take the penalty, which does not result in a loss of down and moves you back 5 yards, and it's 3rd and 7.
Correct.
Now, my opinion in this situation is, and I think this is the one bad decision that Tomlin made, and this is a shit show. What? You don't think it was
another timeout wasted?
But I'm talking about like the decision.
This was the worst,
in my opinion.
Yep.
It's 3rd and 7, and I'd rather have 2 plays to pick up 7 yards than 1 play in that blizzard to pick up 2. And I know they've been gangbusters on 4th down. They've been 4-4 on 4th down. They've been 0-9 on 3rd down. And I know that part of that is what goes into that decision. But I thought it was a long 2. And just as a defender, like 2 yards with the game on the line in that weather, like anything can happen. And if they pick it up, they're still going to have to go score a touchdown. It really doesn't change much to me because I don't think they're kicking the ball. So I thought that decision he might want back.
But also, if they do kick the ball, a 43-yarder in the snow, and they make it, you get the ball back and you know what you have to do.
I think they're going regardless. I don't think they're kicking that 43-yarder. So I think then the game comes down to a 4th and 2. And then it's going to come down to another set of downs. You know, we're just doing the same thing. But if you give them 2 plays to get that first down, I think the chances are a lot higher. And, you know, like the one thing they did last night is they found some soft spots in that zone. And then when they manned up, and Jameis talked about this after the game, Jerry Jeudy was big. He's a cold weather guy, dude. You know what I mean? He's a snow guy. He's played in the snow before.
He's played
probably.
in Denver. He knows what he's doing.
So, just, you know, and like Pittsburgh nearly had that goal line stand against Dallas, I believe, right? Like nearly had that thing at the end of the game. And, you know, thought maybe they had one more in them. And obviously they didn't. So it ends up being a big Cleveland win. And like Cleveland, we knew coming in this game, it's a division game. And with bad weather and the whole thing, and like, yeah, they got the ball run up their ass last week. But I do think when looking at this game last night, the reason we were on Cleveland was, I don't know about you, but like, that's a different run game. You know, Taysom Hill, all the stuff they have going on in New Orleans. This is a division game. It's going to be won and lost in between the tackles. And I thought they were great in short yardage on defense. And like, conversely, you know, the Browns were really good offensively in short yardage. So that's what the game came down to, in my opinion. Short yardage plays. There were a bunch of them where Pittsburgh got stuffed. Obviously, you could barely see the receivers. There was one play where Pickens is wide open to the end. It's chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos.
So I don't know if you can glean too much from this game. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh, Pittsburgh, this is a division game. We thought that Cleveland might win it, and they did.
So
in the snow.
You think Pickens told no lie in his interview at the end of the game?
What did he say? He said Cleveland's not a good team.
He said weather had a huge factor in this game.
I mean, it did, especially when you're the team that can take shots, and they still hit shots in that weather.
The Cleveland secondary looked quite leaky at the beginning of the game.
Leaky. And they still hit some shots in the snow. So, like, sometimes you can come out of a game like this, and Pickens can say they're not a good team, and, like, he can sound bitter, but he's telling the truth. They're not a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're a tough team.
Mm-hmm.
They're hell to deal with, especially if you're playing them in division. But, like, I think Pickens is right, but I think the part he's not talking about is, like, what about y'all's struggles?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what about y'all's red zone struggles? What about all the things that existed before you came into this game and lost it? I think, you know, to be fair to Pittsburgh, they've had an incredible year, and they will be a tough out in the playoffs, but you can't put them in the class of a couple of these other teams in the AFC because of their inability to finish in the red zone, in my opinion.
And it's not often that a 2-8 team gets a primetime slot right around Thanksgiving. Little added motivation for the home team.
It was awesome. I mean, like, and how about Herbig with that sack in the snow? That would have been, you know, if you look back at your career, you got some favorite plays you made. Like, that would have been one of his favorite plays had they held on and won that game. Like, that was amazing. And they got almost through the whole game without Ifedi ruining the game, the tackles ruining the game, and it was that close. So,
you know who else is going to remember a play is Blake Whiteheart with a big catch, and he'll get to show his kids and grandkids the TV copy where Al Michaels says, Njoku,
yeah,
with the big catch.
My favorite was at the end of the game where Al Michaels was like, "Look at these fans. No one's left. They're 2-8," and everybody's like, they're thinking it's a testament to how great the fans are. Al Michaels means like, what the fuck are they doing here? I don't want to be here. So, and then you got the Garrett interview after, and they were like, "What do you think? How cool is it to face off against TJ Watt?"
Yeah,
and he just goes a totally different direction with it, which I like that. Honestly, I get it. I like it. You know, people want to make a big deal about these awards, and people want to make a big deal about labels, and then all of a sudden when a player gets, you know, takes it personal, they want to be like, what was that about? But I get it. Like, you want to be the best, and he has a great argument for being the best. I always talk about this. Like, I think TJ Watt is like a great football player. He might be the best football player on defense, but when it comes to a pass rusher that just can ruin a game, and you have to game plan around a great deal, it's Myles Garrett. And like, watch him down in, down out. I don't think he gets a clean rush more than like once a quarter, and he ends up with a 3-piece in that game, you know, in the snow. So just incredible, just an incredible. He's a force of nature, man. And you know, for a team that's 2-8, for a guy that's like now 3-8, he's had to watch this whole thing He's one of the best players in the league. He could feel like, hey, I'm wasting my prime. He could pack it in. He's playing his ass off. Like that's all you want. And he cares. You know, you want players to care. He cares. And Jameis Winston cares too. He was out on the post game. I mean, that was
getting everybody to do Snow Angels. It was
dude,
awesome.
You know what was so funny? They like showed him his own clips for like 3 minutes. It was like Jameis watching Jameis. It's like we've just run out of shit to talk about. Let's just show him his own clips.
Myles Garrett has 2 hat tricks in the last 3 games. Had one against the Chargers on November 3rd.
If you leave him alone, he's going to ruin the day. And if you chip him, he still might ruin the day. So, Jameis, my baby was eating the snow this morning on FaceTime. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And he's ordering a dub off Amazon. All right. That was incredible. Like, I could go on and on. That's probably the biggest Bevel Conway we've ever seen.
Ever.
A
What
little
about
fire going.
your Agent of Chaos?
Agent of Chaos, bro.
I love him.
What did he wasn't into it with the fans though.
No, bro, he just wasn't paying attention to the Hail Mary. He was literally locked on to Newsom's Newsom's face mask and helmet all the way through the end zone. It wasn't even like he was attempting to get like a pass interference. It was like, I want to slam your head into the stand.
Go through a motherfucker's face.
Front row.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy because they always on the internet, they go back and they show that clip when he's at Georgia and he takes that Georgia Tech kid and like almost the same fashion takes him and with his helmet pushes him all the way into the front row.
Yeah.
And then we had a guy during the game get blocked into the bench on special teams. They called the penalty, but that has to feel pretty bad.
Yes.
To get blocked all the way into the bench.
Yes. It felt bad. That's what Trevor Penning did to my guy Darius Slay. That was a dirtbag move.
Oh my goodness.
I had a great tweet I sent to you last night. You didn't like it so much.
Which one?
The only one I sent to you. You know, so my devil's lettuce consumption's been down a little bit, and I was like, man, the snow game. I sent it to Nolan too. I was like, does this play? And I had like half a joint, and I was like, man, I'm just enjoying myself here. Will you read the tweet?
Sure.
Just to reinforce that I was stupid to almost send this.
If there's a game-winning field goal attempt tonight, it actually goes backwards. It hits a security guy in the head, and a gust of wind carries it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It crashes through a window and lands in the Bad to the Bone exhibit.
That's a great tweet.
I still don't understand it.
He says he doesn't understand it. It's nothing to understand.
Well, dude, I was reading it. I was like, I thought he was cutting back on the hash.
I was until there was something to celebrate, which was a game in a blizzard. I was.
You said, "Does this play?" I said, "I do not understand it."